Are you completely out of your mind? Why did you bring this bum here? Yulia's mother shouted. Yulia was a kind soul, but she didn't yet realize what she had gotten herself into. She was heading home in a foul mood. For months, she had been working as a nurse in a clinic, unable to get used to the atmosphere in the ward. The work was monotonous, the same routine every day. Human ailments and suffering didn't bring any joy, and her colleagues weren't exactly pleasant people, always talking about money, gifts, and expensive things. No one ever mentioned the human soul, morality, compassion, or understanding. Yulia hurried home because it was already late. She had stayed at work longer than usual, dreaming of soon finding a job she loved and joining a good team. Outside, it was late autumn, a gloomy and dreary time of year that mirrored the heaviness in her heart. The last bus had long gone, so she had to take the subway. As she descended the steps of the underpass, she noticed a skinny young man in tattered, dirty clothes. He stood against the wall, his trembling hand outstretched, asking passers-by for a little money. Probably a bum, Yulia thought. She herself had grown up in a poor family without a father. Her mother worked 3 jobs so they could live no worse than others, so the young man stirred genuine sympathy in her. His face seemed kind and pleasant. Yulia took a few steps toward him. As she got closer, she could see his face more clearly. For a moment, she thought she recognized her ex-boyfriend, Anton, whom she had really liked. They had dated for a long time, but their breakup was painful. Anton, Yulia called out. He seemed to lift his head, but quickly lowered his eyes. It's definitely him, she thought. He's just embarrassed to be here, looking like this. Yulia had secretly hoped to see him again all this time, and now here he was. She loved Anton, but her mother had decided otherwise, constantly complaining that he wasn't right for her, criticizing his lack of wealth and prospects. Anton, offended, had left. Anton, it's you. I recognized you, Yulia said. You're mistaken. My name's Dima, the young man mumbled, turning away. Yulia kept looking at him, thinking, what if I bring him home just to spite my mother and tell her he's my fiancé, and he'll live with us? Maybe then she'll stop meddling in my personal life and pushing her suitable candidates. The idea was wild, and Yulia could already imagine the huge scandal at home. But for some reason, her terrible mood made her want to go through with it no matter what. She bought coffee and a bun and handed them to the young man. He thanked her shyly and began eating eagerly. Meanwhile, Yulia started asking questions. Dima, how did you end up here? Why aren't you working? Where's your home? Blushing, he replied, it just happened. I don't want to talk about it. My mother drinks, my stepfather beat her and me, and then they kicked me out. I've got no documents, and without them, I can't find work. I sleep wherever I can, sometimes at the train station, sometimes on heating pipes, like everyone else. Yulia suddenly felt an overwhelming pity for this poor guy who, by fate, had been left with nothing. Without thinking, she said, come with me. I'll feed you dinner. You can wash up and sleep. But there's one condition. I'll tell my mother you're my fiancé, or she won't let you in. Play along. If you don't like it or get tired of it, you can leave any time. No one's forcing you to stay. Help me out, and I'll help you. My mother won't let me date anyone. She thinks they're all wrong. She dreams I'll bring home a millionaire on a white horse. The stranger hesitated, then said, so, you decided to bring a bum home just to spite her? Not the best idea, honestly, but thank you for the offer. You've got a kind heart. You know what? I'll come with you. I'm freezing in this underpass, to be honest. At least I'll warm up a bit. Yulia's mood lightened, and everything around her seemed to burst into bright colors. She was an emotional person, guided by feelings, never dreaming of a wealthy husband or a profitable marriage. She believed love and mutual understanding should come first between two people. What if this is my destiny? she thought. I'll tell my mother straight up that he's my fiancé, and whatever happens, happens. Determined, Yulia grabbed the stunned young man's hand and marched toward her future happiness, ignoring the astonished looks of passers-by. As expected, her mother didn't exactly welcome her daughter and the stranger with open arms. She had long suffered from high blood pressure and had even had a heart attack, which left her disabled. Doctors said she needed heart valve surgery, but there was no money for it. Life wasn't joyful for her, but her main dream was to see her daughter rich and happy. Valentina Pavlovna had struggled her whole life, taking any odd jobs to make ends meet, ruining her health in the process. Naturally, she didn't want Yulia to repeat her fate. In her youth, Valentina had suffered greatly from a pure, passionate love, left alone with a big belly by a fickle fiancé. Her ideal vision of happiness was her daughter living in luxury with a successful businessman husband. Only then could she die in peace. Valentina was stunned when she saw a ragged man next to her daughter. Why did she drag him home, she thought. His clothes were dirty, his hair unwashed, his appearance unkempt. Her face displayed a range of emotions from surprise to outrage, but Yulia tried to ignore it. "Mom, meet my fiancé, Dima," Yulia said. "He's got nowhere to go, so he'll stay with us. You don't mind, do you?" Turning to the young man, she added cheerfully, "Come on, don't just stand there like you're shy. Come in, make yourself at home." Her mother muttered angrily, "Daughter, when will you stop picking up strays? We have a decent apartment, not a shelter for the homeless." Sighing heavily, she slumped and shuffled to her room. They had a hearty dinner. Then Yulia showed Dima to the bathroom, tossed his dirty clothes in the washing machine, and pointed to her room. "You'll sleep here on the fold-out bed. I'll make it up for you now." Dima enjoyed a hot shower and clean bedding, thinking to himself, what a luxury. You only appreciate simple human comforts when you've lost them. Who would have thought I'd experience this? Before bed, he looked at Yulia gratefully and said, "Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Good night, my fairy." Dima quickly settled in as a guest, and Yulia's kindness played a positive role. Plus, Yulia was attractive, cheerful, and easy to talk to. They got along well, talking for hours. Dima tried to help around the house, fixing the loose laundry line brackets on the balcony, tightening wobbly kitchen cabinets, and reinforcing shaky chairs. Yulia now rushed home from work, knowing Dima was waiting for her. Their feelings sparked unexpectedly one evening while watching a TV series and chatting. Suddenly, Yulia winced in pain and cried out. "Yulia, what's wrong?" Dima asked, rushing to her concerned. "Are you hurt? What happened?" She grabbed her leg. "Ouch, a cramp. I must have overworked myself at the clinic. It hurts so much." Dima slipped off her shoe and gently massaged her foot, then the other, then her calves. It felt so good that the pain vanished and the cramp released. Hesitantly, he moved higher, leaned closer, and began kissing her passionately. Yulia tried to resist, whispering, "Dima, what are you doing? We're just pretending to be engaged." "Stop," he replied softly, still caressing her. "I thought it was pretend too, but I've fallen for you, Yulia. I want you so much. You're the best. I've never met anyone like you. If you don't want this, just say so and I'll leave." But it was too late. Yulia had lost her head, and they melted into each other's arms, oblivious to the world. They were blissfully happy, and even her mother's constant disapproval didn't bother them. Dima was so in love with Yulia that he couldn't imagine life without her, and Yulia knew she had found her happiness. "This is real love," she thought. "I'm so happy with him, it's insane." She tried to convince her mother, but Valentina was unrelenting. "Daughter, what are you doing? What future do you have with him? He's a bum with no documents, no apartment. What are you thinking? He better be gone in a week." though Dima helped Valentina and took care of household chores. Male hands were badly needed in the house. She still despised him, constantly picking at him. When Dima didn't leave after a week, the retired woman decided to take drastic measures. While Yulia was at work, she confronted him directly. "Listen, fiancé, Yulia's a reckless girl. She's just having fun with you. If you don't leave, I'll call her real fiancé tonight." Valentina knew she was sinning by lying about her daughter, but her desire to see Yulia with a rich husband won out. Dima took her words seriously. His eyes filled with pain and anguish. He didn't want to believe what she said. Could Yulia really betray me like this? She said she loved me, he thought. His body felt frozen, unwilling to move. Slowly, he shuffled away, not looking back. That day, Yulia had to stay at work for a 24-hour shift. Her day's shift turned into an emergency when a 5-year-old boy with severe burns was brought in, and her colleagues asked her to stay until morning. She called home to let her mother know she'd be late. Valentina didn't mention that she had kicked Dima out, secretly gloating that he'd be long gone by the time Yulia returned. Dima considered staying to talk to Yulia in person, but his pride took over. "I won't risk it. Let them live as they want. Who am I to them? Just a bum." When Yulia finally came home and found Dima gone, she immediately understood. She screamed at her mother, "Why, Mom? I know you drove him away. Are you doing this on purpose? I love Dima. Where am I supposed to find him now?" Valentina went on the defensive. "I'm always the one to blame. Your bum left on his own. I didn't touch him. I won't cry over him. You'll fall out of love as easily as you fell in love. Maybe the third time you'll pick a decent fiancé. Who do you take after?" Yulia was in shock. She knew Dima wouldn't just leave like that. Things were going so well. Feeling her mother had done something irreversible, she thought, "I can't imagine what she told him. Where do I even look for him now? I can't live without him." Hoping to find Dima and explain everything, she rushed out to the underpass where they first met. She looked around frantically, asking other homeless people and vendors, but they just shrugged. Dima hadn't been seen there in a long time. Yulia searched the area for about an hour, hoping he was nearby, waiting for her, but it was futile. He had vanished. She felt so hurt. Why did he do this? Why didn't he wait to talk to me? He said he loved me, yet he just left. Did he use me? She thought, sobbing in the pouring rain. The wind tore off the last leaves, but Yulia didn't notice, trudging through the streets, soaked and inconsolable. Maybe Mom's right, and I'm just a fool. To hell with love. It only brings tears. You can't trust anyone, she told herself, completely drenched and falling ill. She came down with a high fever and barely recovered, deliriously calling out Dima's name in her sleep. Yulia sank into a deep depression, going to work like a robot and locking herself in her room to cry all night. She lost weight and barely ate. A month later, she started feeling violently ill, throwing up constantly. She was pregnant. The situation was dire. The father was a homeless man who had disappeared, and her mother could barely tolerate her. If she found out about the pregnancy, she'd lose it. Yulia didn't know what to do or how to go on. Every morning and evening, she went to the underpass like it was her job, looking for Dima. Once she thought she saw him from behind and shouted, "Dima! Dimka! I found you!" But a stranger turned around, saying, "I'm not Dima. You got the wrong person." In despair, Yulia considered an irreversible step, feeling she had no other way out. With a child in her womb, all her problems seemed unsolvable. She visited a gynecologist, got the necessary tests, and, as a medical worker, was seen without a weight. Lying in the chair, as the stern doctor, who clearly judged her, prepared the instruments, a terrifying thought struck her. What am I doing? I'm about to kill Dima's child, a part of him, his blood and flesh. This baby will remind me of him forever. How could I live with myself? She decided. To hell with them all. My mother, Dima, my cruel colleagues who laughed at me. I'll give birth and raise this child alone, no matter what. Yulia pushed the stunned doctor away and ran home. After her shift, the smell of fried fish hit her, and she barely made it to the bathroom, vomiting for half an hour. Her worried mother stood outside, suspecting the worst. "Sweetie, are you okay? Did you eat something bad? Open the door. It's not what I think, is it?" Finally, Yulia emerged exhausted. Her mother stared at her silently, expecting an explanation. Yulia snapped. "Yes, Mom, I'm pregnant. From Dima, and you drove him away. Now your grandchild will never know their father. I hope you're happy. You got what you wanted. I'm not getting an abortion, so don't even start." Sobbing, she ran to her room. Valentina clutched her chest and went to the kitchen for her calming pills, mentally cursing her daughter. What a fool, playing at love and repeating my mistakes. Stepping on the same rake. Now what? More poverty? I barely raised her, hoping for peace in my old age, and now will raise a grandchild too. From that day, Yulia and her mother barely spoke. Yulia withdrew, staying in her room, trying not to cry. When she couldn't hold back, she stroked her belly, softly singing lullabies or talking to the baby. Strangely, it helped her calm down and fall asleep. Valentina regretted lying to her daughter and kicking Dima out 1,000 times. He was a good guy, sober, helpful, and clearly loved Yulia. She felt increasingly guilty, unable to find a way to mend things with her daughter, who only spoke to the unborn child and went to work, avoiding gossip from colleagues who mock her for getting pregnant and facing single motherhood. The only person supporting her at work was the gynecologist, F.M. Petrovich. He always encouraged her, saying, "Motherhood is the most wonderful thing that can happen to a woman, Yulia. You're young and healthy, with a bright future ahead. It's tough now, but once your baby is born, everything will change. Your worries will fade, and no hardship will dim your happiness." After each visit, Yulia began to believe in a better future, knowing she had a child to live for. But deep down, she couldn't let go of thoughts about Dima. Even after all these months, she remembered his touch. "Dima, where are you? Maybe you're wandering the world, forgetting me," she thought, falling asleep. "How could you leave if you said you loved me?" One morning, Yulia had a strange premonition. At work, she kept mixing things up, nearly sending the wrong patient for an X-ray. The head nurse scolded her. "What's wrong with you? Pull yourself together, especially before maternity leave." Yulia didn't understand what was happening to her. When she got home, a fancy Mercedes pulled up to their building. Valentina, watering flowers by the window, was surprised. "Yulia, look, some big shots here. I've only seen cars like that in movies. Wonder who it's for?" The doorbell rang, and a stunned Valentina opened it. A well-dressed man stood there, smiling. "Good afternoon, Valentina Pavlovna. Is Yulia home? May I come in?" Not understanding, Valentina let him in. He entered the living room, and Yulia came out. Suddenly, the elegant man rushed to her, hugged her, and exclaimed, "Yulia, it's me, Dima. I'm back. Are you happy?" Yulia, furious, shouted, "How dare you say that? Why did you come back? You believed the lies my mother told you, without even talking to me. Where were you all this time? Why didn't you contact me?" Dima lowered his head, his face darkening with sadness. He sat on a couch, inviting Yulia to join him. "Listen, you're right. I believed your mother and left. It hurt. I thought you were playing with me. But it's not what you think. I'm not a bum. I'm the son of Korzanov, a millionaire. My family owns airlines and major assets abroad. But when I lost my mother, my life fell apart. I ran away when my father brought home a stepmother who tried to replace her. I couldn't handle it, so I ended up on the street. That's how I met you. Yulia listened silently, then stood abruptly. I'm not going anywhere with you. First, my mother's sick. Second, I'm pregnant. Dima paled, stammering, Pregnant? From who? Yulia slapped him hard and screamed. How could you think it's not yours? You believe I cheated? Get out with your millions. I hate you. In tears, she ran to her room. Furious, Dima stormed out, slamming the door. Valentina, realizing her lie had ruined her daughter's life, felt another pang of guilt. 2 weeks later, Yulia regretted driving Dima away. She couldn't live without him and thought daily about fixing things. Valentina, seeing her daughter suffering and knowing it was her fault, decided to act. She found out through acquaintances where the Korzanovs lived and went to their mansion. To avoid worrying Yulia, she lied. I'm going with Aunt Sveta to the next city. A professor's visiting. Maybe I can avoid surgery. I'll show him my tests. Yulia replied, You'll manage. Or should I come with you? No, dear, you can't travel in your condition. Rest. I'll be back soon. Valentina struggled to find the Korzanovs' countryside mansion, gathered her courage, and knocked on the gate. The guard, hearing who she was, contacted the owner. Alexander Nikolaevich, Dima's father, invited her in. In his office, Valentina, nervous but determined, began, Alexander Nikolaevich, sorry for intruding. I'm Yulia's mother. She and your son fell in love, but I interfered. I couldn't accept my daughter with a bum. I lied to Dima, saying Yulia had another fiancé, so he'd leave. Now they're both suffering. I'm here to ask you to tell him the truth. It was all a lie. Alexander listened carefully, removed his glasses, and said, That explains a lot. Don't worry, I'll talk to Dima. He's in a tough spot, but I'm sure he'll understand. He arranged for Valentina to be driven home so she wouldn't struggle on the return trip. When Dima came home, his father was waiting in the office. Dima, what's going on? Valentina, Yulia's mother, came today. Did you know she's pregnant? Dima lowered his head. Yes, I know. I don't know what to do. Yulia is great, but I'm not sure the child is mine. Her mother said she had someone else. Alexander frowned. How could you believe that nonsense? Yulia loves you for real, not for your money or status. She didn't run to you when she learned you were rich. She kicked you out because you doubted her. It's not about money, it's about trust. Dima realized his mistake. His father continued, Son, if you love her, go to her. Dima rushed to Yulia's, but terrible news awaited. Yulia had been taken to the hospital with bleeding and a risk of miscarriage. How could I let this happen? Dima raced to the hospital, where Efim Petrovich met him. It's critical, but we're doing everything we can. If you're the father, help us, donate blood. Dima agreed to anything to save Yulia and the baby. He donated blood, then sat by her bedside, whispering, Forgive me, Yulia. I was a fool. I love you more than life. Everything will be okay, I promise. He placed his hand on her belly, whispering, Little one, it's your dad. We're waiting for you. Stay with us. For the first time in a long time, Yulia felt she could breathe freely, filled with warmth and happiness. She closed her eyes and fell asleep, knowing everything would be okay. Dima stayed at the hospital all night, praying. In the morning, the doctor said, Everything's fine. The threat's gone. Yulia needs to stay, but there's no danger now. Overjoyed, Dima arranged a private room for Yulia to recover comfortably. He spent every moment with her, giving massages, bringing fruits and juices, and doing everything to make her feel better. Yulia, surrounded by care, felt better daily. Dima never left her side, bringing light and joy. Her morning sickness passed, and her appetite returned. Valentina cooked borscht and steamed cutlets, supporting her daughter despite her protests. Dima moved them to his family's mansion, believing a loving, cozy home would help Yulia recover. She resisted at first, but agreed, seeing how Dima and his father cared for her and prepared for the baby. Meanwhile, Alexander arranged for Valentina to stay at a southern sanatorium, covering her treatment. For the first time, she could rest, and it improved her health. She returned refreshed and energetic, ready to help her daughter and grandchild. Weeks later, Yulia went for her final ultrasound before giving birth, accompanied by Dima. They were stunned to learn they were expecting twins, a boy and a girl. Twins, Yulia exclaimed. I had ultrasounds before, and no one said anything. The doctor smiled slyly. I saw it, but didn't want to scare you. Everything will be fine. Dima was thrilled, jumping with joy and promising Yulia even more happiness. Everyone at home was shocked, especially Valentina, who realized twins would be harder but was ready to help. As Yulia's due date approached, Dima was a nervous wreck, worrying about her and the babies. The delivery was tough, but thanks to Efim Petrovich's care, Yulia gave birth to two beautiful babies, a boy and a girl. She couldn't hold back tears of joy, her heart overflowing with happiness. Efim reminded her, remember what I said? When you become a mother, all problems will seem trivial. You were right, Yulia whispered. Thank you for everything. After the birth, the family was overjoyed. At the twins' christening, the whole town congratulated Yulia and Dima. Even neighbors who once judged her now envied her happiness, marveling at how everything turned out. Yulia and Dima's lives changed forever. Their family was complete, surrounded by love and care, with bright, joyful days ahead filled with their babies' laughter and mutual support. Thank you for listening to the story until the end. Subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends and loved ones. It motivates us to keep working on new stories every day. Don't miss the next amazing story that's about to appear on your screen. We're very grateful to have you with us. See you soon.